We are live on a blank screen for Attorney Man. 3, 2, 1, bang! Ace Attorney is here. Let's finish Rufter. Let's hopefully finish Rufter. I'm sorry, Mr. Wright. I'm sorry for what my sister said. Drastic crimes require drastic measure. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. I didn't know. Hang on. Yeah, okay. A bit right, not that is fine. I never knew that the SL9 incident was just another name for the Joe Dark killings. I feel like everyone's heard about these killings but me. Lana wanted Dark convicted so badly. That's why she used me. That's why she used what happened to me. What happened to you? What do you mean what happened to you? Oh, my desk is filthy. It's all there in the file. Joe Dark's last victim was Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He murdered Officer Marshall's brother. He left behind an incriminating piece of evidence. What did you have to do with those killings, Emma? The night Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered, Joe Dark tried to kill him. He tried to kill you? Yeah. Officer Marshall's brother, Neil, was only trying to protect me. Or save me. Whatever. So that means you... Yeah, I was a witness in the Joe Dark trial. Well, I didn't see that one. Sure. Not move. It happened 2 years ago. It was right about this time of the year too. There was a terrible thunderstorm that day, unusual for the season. I was alone in my sister's office. We were planning to eat dinner together once she finished with her work. Then suddenly, this terrifying man came bursting into the office. Dark. Seems like he was running from someone. He pulled out a knife and screamed at me. Holy shit. I didn't know what was going on. Just then, Prosecutor Marshall showed up. Marshall's brother. Joe Dark tried to take me hostage. Before he could, Mr. Marshall tackled him. Then, what happened? I'll never forget it. Lightning struck and the lights suddenly went out. A bolt of lightning flashed outside the window, lighting up the office for an instant. What I saw then, it burned a permanent picture in my mind. I can still see it now. I don't remember the moment when Dark stabbed Mr. Marshall, so you weren't able to testify about that. No, I was only asked about when I was attacked. That must be why Lana... That's why she made up the crime. Made it up? You mean provided bogus evidence? The prosecutor's office wanted that guilty verdict so bad. Lana forged the evidence and Mr. Edgeworth used it. Hey, Edgeworth? Yeah, but I'm sure he didn't know anything about it. He couldn't have known he was being given false evidence. That's when all the rumors started. This guy, Rishi, how are you? I'm gonna finish this. Or at the very least get through some of it. Do you know how long this case is from where I am? This is day 3 investigations. Let's see how far you can get in this case. That is cut off. That's fixed. Perfect. After that case ended, Lana was never the same. That's not a good place to put it. We'll put it there. Sweet. I will get as far as I think I can. She must not have been able to face up to what she did, especially not to Emma. I'm gonna be honest. This is we should be about halfway through the 3rd day. Right now, I just finished the trial where Lana said, you know, she used false evidence against Joe Dark. You can see behind my green screen. You can see behind my green screen still. Sort of better. Dark knocked down Mr. Marshall and raised his knife. Your Marshall was stabbed right in front of this poor girl. Should be halfway through the third day. I'll see where I get up to. I'm hoping to finish, but we'll see. When I came to, Lana was cradling me in her arms. You've been through so much. I couldn't bring myself to testify about the incident. Or that instant. I tried, but the words just wouldn't come out. I drew a picture, but it wasn't any good. Years ago, you must have been 14. That's understandable. Once it was all over, I made up my mind. I decided that when I grew up, I wanted to be a scientific investigator. I want to be able to fight crime with my testimonies and find the evidence to make an airtight case. That way Lana would never have to forge any. Yeah, you know what? That's fairly noble. Well done, Emma. I see. I think I'm finally starting to understand what makes Emma tick. But there's still something that bothers me about that crime. There's something that's puzzling me, Emma. And it's my badge. What is it? You said you were in Lana's office at that time, right? That's alright. Why then would a serial killer come running in there? Not only that, but he was being chased by a prosecutor. There's no mystery there. Joe Dark had been taken in for questioning that day. Taken in for questioning? You mean by the police? Of course, this happened at the police department. He tried to run away halfway through the interview and fled into my sister's office. Why did he run all the way over to your sister's office? Because the detective offices and the... Well, that was quick. Because the detective offices and the questioning room are right across from the elevator. Across from the elevator? Flash up DL6. But Lana was the chief prosecutor, wasn't she? No, silly. Didn't I tell you? 2 years ago, Lana was a detective. She was the best in the entire force. How does a detective be put as chief prosecutor? After the Joe Dark case, she was transferred to the prosecutor's office and made chief prosecutor. Lana used to be a detective? I'd better have another talk with her. Alright then. Detention center, what am I talking? Hi, Lana. Mr. Wright, it seems I keep causing you trouble. Falsifying evidence? I didn't think you were the type. Criminals don't mind playing foul. Why should... Whoa! But Lana, if you're wrong, an innocent person might be found guilty. Believe me, I understand the risks. Lana, Emma told me about you. Eh? But how you were a detective 2 years ago. And how the SL9 incident was the reason for your transfer to the prosecutor's office. Yeah, that's right. Could you fill me in on the details? Especially about the unusual change of jobs? Suppose you have a right to know, right? A lot of revelations were uncovered at that trial today. Not the least of which was the fact that this case is largely connected to another one 2 years ago, which mostly has falsified evidence. Evidence from that case was stolen as well, though I expected as much. I know how obsessive Officer Marshall can be. That trial really wasn't fair, was it? I believed in you, Lana. I believed that no matter what happened, you'd always stick to the truth. It couldn't be helped, Emma. At that trial 2 years ago, I sold my soul. Well, all drama aside, the fact of the matter is this. At 5:15, there was no murder at the police department. Tell me it's not true, Lana. What the witness, Miss Starr, said. About you stabbing Mr. Goodman with a knife. Lana, I don't understand. Why won't you tell us? Emma, this doesn't involve just me. I don't think I've ever... I mean, we know who it is. We know it's Swimming Man, but like... It's true. I was a member of the police force 2 years ago. She was amazing. Yeah. They still talk about all the cases that she and Chief Gant cracked together. Chief Gant. He was a deputy chief of police back then, but he still worked crime scenes. Damon Gant, he was everything I aspired to be. They were the best team ever. They solved crimes before the reports could even be filed. Hello, Fruity. How are ya? Emma really idolizes her big sister. But now you're chief prosecutor. What happened? I always planned on becoming a prosecutor. The reason I became a detective was to gain experience investigating crime scenes so you could use the experience in court, right? Gant's help in the SL9 case was crucial to its resolution. Was it though? I mean, we all know. After I became chief of police and arranged my transfer to the prosecutor's office. Also, that end of year montage was bloody fantastic. I didn't watch all of it, I just sort of skipped through to see where you scored on me. Now I should ask more about this investigation of theirs 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I was second in command of the detectives investigating Dark. Second in command? That means the investigation was led by Damon Gant. Yes, Deputy Chief Gant and I shared the same office and the same investigations. I made sure. Yeah, I saw the tag, and that's why I thought, well, I'm getting scored on here. Never get a green screen. They are annoying, especially when you buy a $20 one from Kmart. We led a team of the best detectives on the force. Yeah, Goodman, Starr, and the two Marshall brothers. The first time Marshall worked with his brother, he was quite gung-ho. But you weren't scored on. No, I saw there were a few ones where I got scored on. Although the PK clip was incredible. We asked him to come in for questioning. We were desperate for evidence. That was when his final murder took place. He tried to murder Emma. Prosecutor Marshall was trying to save me from Dark. You see, the first person who happened upon the scene of the crime was me. Now you tell us this. Damon Gant and Neil Marshall were the ones questioning Dark that day. The investigation was in its final stages and Dark must have suddenly panicked. So he waited until Gant and Marshall let their guards down and then fled the room. From there he ran straight to the office. I haven't seen that yet. I will look at it after this stream. From there he ran straight to the office shared by Deputy Chief Gant and myself. That's where he found me. So you're the first person to run to the scene, Lana. It appears so. I was filing some papers while Gant and Marshall were questioning Dark. Interesting. When I returned to my office, I saw the 3 bodies lying on the floor and smelled blood. 3? Prosecutor Marshall, the victim, Emma, who had passed out, and the suspect, Joe Dark. During the struggle, it seems Mr. Marshall struck a final blow before he died. Joe Dark had incurred a minor concussion and lay unconscious. What did you do? To be honest, I panicked. I picked up Emma, carried her out of the room, and just held her. Can't blame her here. After that, I placed Dark under immediate arrest. Let me get this straight. You were all involved in the SL9 incident. That's right, quite a coincidence, hmm? I don't buy it. Yeah. It's sort of the same thought that I've had throughout this entire thing. What are you saying? There's no way everyone involved in this trial was also involved in that incident. Except for me. Just by chance. That case was solved 2 years ago. No, it wasn't Emma. At least one person went to the extremes because they didn't believe it was truly solved. Yeah. Jake Marshall. Officer Marshall, yes. His actions came as a surprise to me as well. Ever since his brother died, he's changed completely. I guess he wasn't convinced with the ruling against Joe Dark. Life doesn't end with the closing of a case. Everyone has to live the rest of their lives with their memories. That case just might not be over yet. Did Gant kill... Did Gant kill Marshall? Because I've seen this. Well, actually no, this wasn't in the anime, so I don't know who kills who in this. Emma was assaulted by Dark at the police department, right? Yes, in the office that Damon Gant and I shared. We'll find out soon. Because this one wasn't in the anime, so I don't know who did what to who in this. All I know is I'm defending Lana, so she's innocent. Unless this is like fair or my turnabout. Maybe we should have a look at the chief's office, the site of the final SL9 murder. Alright. The good thing about the start of investigations is there's stuff to do in every room. So you don't get lost. No one here's today, not even Miss Star. Everyone's probably busy looking at exactly what went down in the evidence room. That must be where the detectives are. We proved in court today that on the day of the crime, no one was murdered in the evidence room at 5:15 PM. Yeah, I thought we were finally making some headway in our case. But instead it looks like we just ended up making Lana look even more guilty. We've got to find all the answers by tomorrow. Alright, so there is nothing here. The High Prosecutor's office is open. I'll see if Edgeworth is up to anything. Mr. Edgeworth isn't here. Maybe he's just being questioned by an inquiry committee. He took a real beating in court today. Yeah, with Lana admitting to falsifying evidence 2 years ago. I guess we'll just have to come back later. Unfortunate. Hey, Jake Marshall. Howdy, Bambina. Oh, Mr. Marshall. Never thought things would turn out this way when I woke up this morning. Que sera, sera. You never know where life will lead you, Bambina. Should have known my luck had run out when old Billy dried up this morning. Billy? Must be his pet cactus! So, where are you headed? Just over to the prosecutor's office for a little interrogation. It's a voluntary appearance, but we all know I won't be coming back. Sorry, but you can't go in the evidence room today, partner. Mr. Marshall, why did you do it? Why do prospectors head west? If there was ever a case I need to know the truth about, it was that one. Before you turn yourself in, Marshall, would you mind telling us exactly what happened? Looks like I won't be getting a steak lunch today. Something was fishy about that trial from the beginning. It wasn't just me either. All the detectives thought so. What do you mean by fishy? Some of the facts reported were inconsistent with the evidence we found. For example, the murder weapon. The murder weapon? You mean this switchblade knife? That was Joe Dark's alright. But, in the initial autopsy report, a question was raised. A question? The blade of the knife was not a perfect match with the wounds the victim sustained. Well, what does that mean? Are you stupid? It means there is a good chance that knife was not the murder weapon. However, in the report that was finally submitted, that a possibility had been erased. And the facts have been concealed with forged evidence. That case left behind scars on all of us. The scars that the SL9 incident left behind. Okay, so my theories right now are it's not Angel Star, it's not Jake Marshall, because they got demoted after SL9. It's either Gant or Lana, because they got promoted after it, and this is an Ace Attorney game, so I think it's going to be Gant. Alright. I got the looks, but he got the brains. He was one of the best prosecutors around. I just made detective when it went down. It was our first case together. How old was he, your brother? He was 27 at the time. He was awarded the highest honor that very day. Highest honor? You mean the king of prosecutors. I knew it. What are you looking at me like that for? That's an honor for a prosecutor. This Marshall must have really been close with his brother. The day the SL9 incident took place, that wasn't the same day as... That's right, it was the day of the evidence transfer. So it's like 2 years ago today. Interesting. It was drizzling that morning and by nightfall there was thunder. I can't believe 2 years have gone by already. I tried to steal the evidence so the case wouldn't die. Apparently someone tried to stop you. Detective Goodman was murdered and the evidence locker was empty. So, why would Goodman be dead? Like, well, obviously he's dead, but like, was Goodman also trying to reopen the case? There's something going on behind the scenes in that case. We all knew that later. Hold up, no, this is Damon Gant. Because Lana was in the car park, unless the murder was in the car park. I don't know. Every detective involved in that investigation, save one, was taken care of. Miss Starr was fired, and I was demoted and boxed away in a tiny room. What about Detective Goodman? If they did something to him, too, the commissioners would have gotten suspicious. No, they were careful enough not to be too obvious. They? Who are you talking about? Don't get upset, Bambina. I mean Damon Gant and Lana Skye. The investigation led Damon Gant and his second-in-command, Lana Skye. This picture keeps flashing up. It's actually a really good photo. Like, it's one of those photos that you would actually see siblings have. It's really cool. There wasn't a person on the force who hadn't heard of that duo. Like, that case was the biggest in both of their careers. After the case ended, Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office, right? Yeah, Gant, the new chief of police, arranged for that to happen. She's never been the same since she left. Everyone who knew her said so. Chief Prosecutor Skye was totally different when she was a detective. Now that he mentions it, Emma said something like that too. Tell me, what happened to my sister? Sorry, Bambina, but her secret is too well guarded. I never found out. What secret? It started 2 years ago. She's not telling us all she knows, so there you have it. That's my story. Did you enjoy it, partner? It was certainly enlightening. There's one thing for sure that I found out in court today. That boy Edgeworth isn't my enemy. He was the one who used falsified evidence to get a guilty verdict, but someone else was the one who gave him that evidence and planned everything. That someone is Damon Gant. Don't believe me? Well, I don't blame you. I won't even be a patrolman after today. I've never seen that pop animation before. Has he just, like, been drinking whiskey from his flask, but just, like, with the cap on? When you became a real scientific investigator, adios, Bambina. Alright, Gant, I need to talk to you. This place is always pretty empty, but today it's deserted. That must mean everyone's busy solving crimes. If you're looking for the others, they're on the conference room. Thanks. He actually talked to us. Oh, that was the chief of detectives, not Gant. With the chief prosecutor saying what she did and the decision about what to do, Mr. Edgeworth not to mention our statement to the media in tomorrow's trial, there's more chaos going on than Thanksgiving and Christmas put together. I think festive is usually the word used for these. Sir, we'd like to have a look around Chief Gant's office. Just use the connecting hallway to the other building and take the elevator to the top floor. Really? You mean it's okay for us to go in there? Proto Badger is horrifying. Proto Badger? What the What's Proto Badger? Was Proto Badger the Badger in Ace Attorney Investigation? Now see where Detective Gumshoe gets his unique charm. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's head to the Chief's office. It's the first version of the Blue Badger. See that plushie over there? Oh dear lord, that's terrifying. It's got no eyes. Oh, I'm gonna have a... Alright, this guy's a villain. We know who's done it. Whenever you see a massive organ in someone's office, you know they've done it. It's just as simple as that. Oh, where am I? You're in a place that you will never afford, Phoenix. In the chief's office, silly. At least that's what they said. Check out that pipe organ. That's real, isn't it? Hey, I used to take organ lessons in kindergarten. They used to call me Little Miss Back. Or Buck. I thought it was a genius name. I never could remember where C was. Shit. Oh, it's you two. Chief Gant. He put that paper he was reading in his desk. So, Righto, have you been swimming lately? What's with this guy? Like, do we ever find out a reason behind why he enjoys swimming? No, I haven't been. I've been kind of busy lately. I can appreciate that. I've had my hands full too with Mr. Marshall's misconduct. And Lana's provocative statement. Provocative statement. Oh, you mean the one about forged evidence? 2 years have passed since the incident. My, how time flies. See that big picture on the wall there? That's a picture of Lana, Neil and I. So this is Mr. Marshall's brother, Prosecutor Neil Marshall. We took it to commemorate our work together. Something's not right with this picture. The vase is complete. I can't quite seem to put my finger on it though. Gant team picture added to the courtroom. Courtroom? Court record. But yes, Richie, do we ever find out why Gant loves swimming? Anyway, I'd like to reminisce all day, but there are matters that need my attention. I'm gonna lock up here, so let's go out together. Ah, but I don't think it'd be. That case has long since been over. There's no need to investigate it anymore. All the same, we'd still like to have a look around. Perhaps you didn't hear me. I said there's no need to investigate it anymore. Now hurry up and get out. I have a meeting to attend. Just a meme Capcom made, I suppose. Looks like we aren't welcome. Yeah, you could say that again, Emma. It seems that this case isn't over with at all. What do you mean? Chief Gant denied our request to search the crime scene. That means there must have been a reason he doesn't want us looking around in there. You mean like a clue? There's gotta be a way we can get inside Chief's office. Edgeworth? Crime scene all looks the same. Can I move to... Ah! Gumshoe! Detective, aren't you supposed to be in a meeting? I'm just taking a breather. My feet hurt. From sitting so long? Actually, from serving everyone coffee. Sounds like Detective Gumshoe's still out of the loop. So have either of you seen Mr. Edgeworth? Edgeworth? No. Why do you ask? He's under fire from both the police department and the prosecutor's office. It's almost like the battles between you two in court. That sounds serious. Is it because of what my sister said? That's basically what it all boils down to. That falsified evidence 2 years ago. Now Mr. Edgeworth has the whole world after his blood. Yikes. Not move, talk! Why would Edgeworth be blamed? It's not like he knew the evidence was forged. Nana Sky's the guilty party here, isn't she? Regardless, the prosecutor is responsible for the evidence they present in court. Not only that, but as you know, there have been a lot of rumors about Edgeworth going around. His amazing talent as a prosecutor kept him safe from those who don't like him. But now with this, are there really so many people who hate him? In our world, only those with talent rise to the top. Mr. Edgeworth not only has done that, but he's young. There's no better recipe I know for making enemies. Hey Dick, keep up the good work. Yes, sir. Let's go out for lunch again sometime. My treat. Yes, sir. You gotta take me back to that joint sometime, okay, Dick? Yes, sir. You don't have any problems with enemies. Yeah, well, I'm careful not to stick out. Anyway, I'm a bit worried about him. Under all this pressure, I'm afraid Mr. Edgeworth just might crack. Actually, I took a look at the file earlier while the coffee was brewing. He seems genuinely concerned for Edgeworth. Well, did you find anything out? The only evidence Dark left behind was during his final attack. His final attack? You mean when he killed Prosecutor Marshall, who was trying to protect some girl? Me. Seems Detective Gumshoe never realized Emma was that person. That's when he left the most incriminating evidence of all. Well, what was it? Let me see. I think it had something to do with the murder weapon? Oh, I forget. Look, it's all written somewhere in here, okay? His powers of recollection never fail to impress. What powers? He's got 0. Maybe we should just show him the murder weapon? It might jog his memory. Joe Dark was 42 at the time of the crime. He was just your run-of-the-mill businessman. Businessman? What made him to take serial killing? One day on his way home from work, he hit someone with his car. His car? So it was an accident. An accident, yes, but it transformed him into an animal. An animal? He killed a man that witnessed... Whoa! Okay, so... Whoa! Whoa! What? Seems he was a pretty careless animal. Of course, this is all conjecture. There wasn't a single shred of evidence. So he turned himself in, yes, but in the middle of his questioning, he fled and murdered his final victim. Marshall. That crime was witnessed by someone too, but luckily Dark was arrested on the spot. It's a good thing that last witness wasn't killed. That last witness. God, Emma's just sitting there, just crying her eyes out, probably. Okay, yeah, exactly. Alright, show him a murder weapon, it might jog his memory. Found in Mr. Edgeworth's car, stabbed with Mr. Edgeworth's knife, huh? What would drive Chief Prosecutor Sky to do such a thing? Wait, I didn't... Oh, yeah. That's not the right one. I need to show him the SL9 weapon. About this. Hey, is that... There's a tag attached to it with the label SL9 incident on it. I believe this would be broken murder weapon you're speaking of. What are you doing with that? And since that case was closed, that knife's been locked away in a locker. On the day Detective Goodman was murdered, this suddenly disappeared from the locker. It was found in Mr. Edgeworth's car muffler. That's it. Now I remember what that incriminating piece of evidence was. When you showed me that knife, it all came back to me. Yes, Gumshoe. Before you forget again. Okay, preface this. It'd be awesome if I just press this and he goes, "What are you talking about, murder weapon?" This knife, it was Joe Dark's, wasn't it? That's right. We traced it back to the store. He bought it. He bought it at. Plus it had his fingerprints on it too. No one actually witnessed him using it to murder him, alright? That's where his luck ran out. When you take a good look at the knife, you'll see it's broken. You don't have to take a good look to notice that. Yeah, well anyways. Take a guess where the broken off tip of the knife was found. That's what did him in. Where was it? The victim, Neil Marshall, was carrying it inside his own body. It was found deep inside the stab wound. Did it match Dark's knife? You bet, down to the last fiber. That's pretty conclusive. Stabbed in the back. If you're gonna be in a fight with someone, wouldn't you stab them in the stomach or something? Well, there you have it in a nutshell. That's all I know. Hang on. If what Gumshoe says is correct, and that Joe Dark killed 3 or 4 people, and then immediately turned himself in, why was there a major investigation? It's not money, but it does concern the chief. His office is a crime scene, right? That's where Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered. The chief's out now and his office is locked, but we'd like to have a look around if that's okay. Well, any detective's ID card can unlock that door. Are you serious? If I let a civilian in there... I guess they wanted to double check and be extra conclusive. But even then, like, there's this whole, like, you know, no evidence, all this has been stumped, blah, 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 blah. But he turned himself in and admitted to the murders. Breach of trust? Simply put, I'd be canned. Oh, sorry, pal. I don't plan on getting fired because of you. How about this ID card? It was Detective Goodman's. That won't work either. The data was deleted the day he died. Ah, shit. So in other words, Gumshoe is our only chance of getting into that office. I wonder if there's something that we could show him that would make him change his mind. I need Edgeworth's letter of thing, don't I? I need Edgeworth's letter of resignation. There he is. Looks like he's writing something. What are you doing here, right? Sure was quick to throw that paper on the floor. Tough day in court, huh? Had to live the past 2 years with rumours flying around. It's another allegation to me. Cheer up, Edgeworth. I'm rooting for you. That's Edgeworth for you. Always trying to hide his real feelings. So what do you want? Unlike some people, I don't have all day. There's no excuse for what I've done. 2 years ago, I used false evidence to obtain a guilty verdict. And that's what it all breaks down to, and there's nothing I can do to erase the fact. But you didn't know, did you? I mean, that evidence was falsified. The police department and the prosecutor's office share a bond of trust. If that bond is broken, we stand to lose everything. The police department's error is my error, my responsibility as the prosecutor in charge. That fact remains the same no matter what excuses I might have. Mr. Edgeworth, take pride in my work, so tell me why. Why has it all come to this? Even Edgeworth can't keep this kind of emotion bottled up. Are you up for the trial tomorrow? First, last year's trial, and now this one. It seems all you do is worry about me. To be honest, you're getting on my nerves. But Edgeworth, you can't just walk out on a trial. Tomorrow is the last day. It's too late to change prosecutors. I bet that's what my superiors are banking on. I never thought that case would come back to haunt me like this. What do you mean? List of evidence. It seems too short. Most lists run twice as long. It's only half as long as most lists. That's odd. After Neil Marshall was murdered, I became a prosecutor for that case. I may not have been part of the investigation, but I knew what I had to do. Use the evidence I was given to prove the suspect guilty. That was really the only thing on my mind at the time. Say, we just saw a picture taken around that time. That picture, something seems strange about it. There's no excuse for what I've done. 2 years ago, I used false evidence to obtain his... That's what all breaks it. Nothing I can do. Did I press the wrong one? Yes, I did. Sucks. Could you tell us again about what happened that day? The day Detective Goodman was murdered. You were participating in a ceremony over the station, right? Never cared for ceremonies, but I had to attend that one. Because you were awarded this. Those receiving awards can't exactly skip out on the ceremony. Finished up at the office in the morning, then drove over to the police department. You finished up at the office? Yes, just odds and ends and clerical stuff. I didn't plan on returning to the office that day. As until I was asked to take something back. Take something back? This. Oh yeah, Chief Gann asked you to hold on to that, didn't he? Yeah, it was a piece of evidence in a case that was closed half a year ago. He asked me to bring it back to the prosecutor's office. That's the story we heard yesterday. So you came back here to the prosecutor's office because the chief asked you to. That's right. I wonder what he was writing before. Come on, Mr. Wright. Let's take a look. Are you crazy? Edgeworth is sitting right here. I'll just distract him. I'll check it out. Hey, Edgeworth. Is that Detective Gumshoe out the window there? Oh, no, he's falling to the ground. Hold on. First, let me see what this girl's doing crawling around my feet. Didn't even look. What, the letter of resignation? If you're having trouble reading, I'll read it for you. It says a letter of resignation. Resignation? You don't mean? I'm tired, alright? I feel as if something inside me died. But Edgeworth, none of it's your fault. I know the path I've walked, you don't need to tell me. The path I've walked hasn't been just one. Can't forgive myself for what I've done. No one else should forgive me either. I think it's serious. Right, please tell me you have something to do. This letter of resignation. I wonder if I can use it for anything. You certainly can. Right. Hey, someone's here. Excuse me. Star! Angel Star. Would either of you care for a quarter-pound of roast beef? Hey, Miss Star. Guess she's out of lunches. Certainly are the curious sort, aren't you? It's kind of like the first person who sucked a cow's nip. Alright, the screen went dark because F12 is the same button that sends me over to my Rocket League stream, so I will be back when I'll be back to Ace Attorney in like 3, 2, 1. Still, I never thought that you'd go digging up that case from 2 years ago. Around this trial I was involved in the SL9 incident. Not only that, but the murder occurred on the very day the evidence was taken from that case. Due for transfer, this all can't be attributed to a mere coincidence. Aren't you forgetting something? You know that little scene I happened to witness? The instant Lana stabbed Goodman with a knife. No matter how much of the past you dig up, it won't change what I saw. Roast beef is meant to be savoured when eaten. This star's hatred towards Lana. It dates back to 2 years ago, because she was fired and Lana was promoted. Joe Dark, that's her name I'll not soon forget. We trailed him for half a year. Oh, the pressure. Again, like, didn't he turn himself in on the same day? Still, I don't think I was ever more alive than I was then. Those days were steamier than a bowl of hot gravy. Poor old Jake Marshall, though. Must have been going to hell. You mean because of his brother's death? They were close, those two. After Neil died, something took over Jake. He became obsessed. Seeing Jake like that made her all the more desperate. Her? Lana Skye? My sister? The best of the best were put out on that case. Of course, they were led by the legendary duo. Again, cool picture. Lana and Gant. I think his passion for murder was he realized in a car accident that he continued to escape. So you think that he just sort of like accidentally killed someone and then was like, hey, this feels good, and then just started murdering. That legendary pair was the reason we were able to keep up our investigation. That's why we were so shocked over how it turned out. I mean, with the forging of evidence. Don't get me wrong, Joe Dark got what he deserved, so it was obvious the evidence produced in court was being manipulated. Items our team never found would suddenly appear while other items were kept secret. But you don't have proof anything illegal was done. And proof enough of what happened. After that case, all of us, save Goodman, were relieved of our duties. Most without even so much as an explanation. And Lana Skye transferred to the prosecutor's office and became chief prosecutor. Lana always wanted to be a prosecutor. Nothing's quite as simple as it appears. Lana Skye was merely being used as a pawn. That's my take on the matter. Just being used? Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office 2 years ago, didn't she? Yeah, thanks to Chief Gant's powerful influence. Chief, that's right. Having solved the SL9 case, his position as chief was secured. There was only one thing left for him to control, and then no one could stand in his way. The prosecutors. What? You mean that's why Lana was transferred? If he can control the chief prosecutor, he can control the prosecutor's office. That must have been his goal all along. How could he control Lana? I don't know, but one thing's for sure. Ever since that case ended, she's never been the same. It's only logical to conclude that it must have been a reason for her change. I'm finally getting close to the bottom of this ugly mess. Thank you. You listen to me, rookie. It takes more than just ingredients to create fine cuisine. Hope you turn out to be a better chef than I've been. They went Gant and Lana Skye. Gant led the investigation with Lana's second command. They were the best. There's so much stalling here, I know that! Blaming Gant's magnetism in particular was almost unreal. His magnetism? I mean his ability to attract evidence. He'd produce the most incredible evidence in the cases he'd handle. Incredible evidence, you mean? Ah yes, there were rumors about him even back then. No one dared confront him though. Take it, she's talking about the forged evidence. Back then everyone looked up to Lana. All the detectives wanted to be like her. Really? Oh yeah, myself included. I was a fool, really. She hated anything crooked and always watched out for other detectives. That's why she was so concerned for Jake. Jake Marshall. When Jake's brother was murdered, she felt as if she had lost her own brother. If it wasn't for her, I don't think Jake would have ever recovered from his shock. That's what makes it all the more infuriating. Star. That's why I'll never be able to forgive her. Why did she have to turn so cold after that? Alright! Oh, I can't present this to Gumshoe. Where is Gumshoe? I didn't get any more evidence, did I? Attorneys and prosecutors have no business showing evidence outside of court. It's taboo, really. Attorneys and prosecutors, taboo. Attorneys and prosecutors, blah 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 blah. I want to show Edgeworth the photo. This picture was hanging on the wall in Chief Gant's office. Prosecutor Neil Marshall, he had just started making a name for himself. Looks like this was taken when you received the King of Prosecutors trophy. Speaking of that, there's something that bothers me. Yes, the trophy Mr. Marshall's holding is a little different than yours. Yeah, you're right. Ah, I remember now. Remember what? That was what the official prosecutor's trophy looked like until 2 years ago. The story behind this design. The story? Would you mind telling us it? It's simple, really. Contradiction. That's what the award's based on. This award originates from an ancient Chinese tale. In Chinese, the word contradiction is written with 2 characters. The first means halberd, and the second means shield. Have you heard the story? I have, actually. But we'll let Edgeworth say it. Why don't you tell me it? Everyone knows that. Why don't you tell it to me, though, for Emma's sake? Very well. Long ago in the kingdom of Shu, there was an arms merchant. One day he presented the king with 2 items. The first was a halberd he claimed could slice through any shield or armor. The second was a shield he claimed could withstand any weapon. Wait a minute. Objection, those claims contradict each other. Very perceptive. But then again, you've heard this story before, right? As you mentioned, the very descriptions of these both items discredit them both. When the king pointed this out, the merchant was left speechless, and thus the Chinese word for contradiction was born. I see, so the chipped shield and broken knife symbolize... Precisely, they symbolize the merchant's items. The ancient tale ends with the merchant lost for words. But it's in our nature to pursue matters to their conclusion, even if it results in something as ugly as this. Hey, thanks, Mr. Edgeworth. I learned something new today. That's funny. If that's so, then why were you only given the shield? You have to ask Gant. 2 years ago, he had the halberd as part of the award abolished. Don't tell me the halberd was the fucking murder weapon. Now, do I talk to Gumshoe? Hopefully I do. Oh, you're back, Celia. I gotta make 150 pieces of copies. You're a DJ as well? If I'm not mistaken, I think he means Dex Jockey. Oh, that's DJ. I've got to admire your persistence if my answer's still no. I'm not letting you in the chief's office, period. Maybe my neck on the line. It's the last crime scene, though. We have to look in there. There's got to be something we can do to make him change his mind. Edgeworth's quitting! What's this crumpled out piece of paper? No way! Mr. Edgeworth can't be serious. Is he ever not serious? Can't believe that if they've pushed him this far. Mr. Edgeworth really feels responsible. When I first met him, I thought he was as cold as ice too, but I know different now. He trusted us detectives to provide him with sound evidence. But we betrayed him. Detective. That's it. I've made up my mind. But, here, take my ID card. We can't do that if someone found out. They wouldn't let you off the hook with another lost item report. Look at me. It's no secret I'm already out of the loop. After all, I'm friends with Mr. Edgeworth. Depending on how this case turns out, I may already be as good as terminated. What? So at least let me do this, for Mr. Edgeworth's sake. Alright, detective. Thank you. Alright, happy clappy. Here goes, Mr. Wright. Hey, it's a halberd. If anyone finds us now, they give Gumshoes a goner. If that happens, I'm counting on you to bail me out. Yeah. Did Emma slap him? Or did Gumshoe slap her? Okay. Sorry, I thought you were a ghost. I didn't even know you could slap a ghost. Detective Gumshoe, what are you doing sneaking up on us like that? I wasn't sneaking, I was just worried something might go wrong. So I came too. If you're here, then what's the point in giving us your ID card? Gumshoe's ID crushed and rendered unusable in pocket. Hey, don't do that to my card. I hardly ever get a chance to come in here. Just crushing it. Oh, Phoenix, you monster. You really do want to get fired, don't you? Not if we're lucky. Now come on, let's see what we can find out. I've got a bad feeling about this. This is the halberd. This is the real deal, isn't it? This armor and these weapons. Sure is power. The chief doesn't like imitations. First the armor. First the pipe organ, now this armor. You know how many taxpayer dollars must have gone into this room? Oh, you mean we're paying for this? That's it. I'm not paying 1 cent of my taxes. You don't have any taxes to pay. Be careful what you say. Who knows? The chief may be hiding in this armor as we speak. I don't think he'd fit in there. If he did, he'd never be able to get back out. Cut it out. You guys don't know how scary that guy can be. And this guy, ace tax evader. I want there to be a case where, like, the IRS murders Emma for no reason whatsoever, but just for that line. This is a safe, isn't it? Safe, that word is ripe with intrigue. Okay, if you say so. Looks like a code is needed to be entered. Oh no. Do you know what it is? Is it 7 sevens? I have a hunch. Oh, I know. You want to try my birth date? Better idea. Here goes nothing. It's 7 sevens. Bingo. What number did you enter? Whose birthday was that? 777777. 7. The number of the mysterious executive officer who entered that room that day. You mean that ID number? I think you're 1 7 shy this time. That can only mean one thing. That's Chief Gant's ID number. Does anyone care to look inside? Yes, Emma. Is there any money in there? How much does he have stashed away? Look, it's a shard from a broken cap. It somehow looks familiar. Where have I seen it before? There's got to be something else in here too. A cloth, a leather cloth with a handprint on it. This is a handprint, isn't it? Hey, I saw someone wearing a shirt like that once. Do you think the chief made up the design? I don't think so. Well, I thought it was just a thought. Is that it? This is all that was in the safe? Apparently so. It's empty now. Comes in a piece of cloth. They look like pieces of evidence. Yeah, but unless you can prove they have something to do with this case, I'm afraid you just can't let them take them. After all, it's my neck on the line here. Great, now I have to prove their relevancy to get them. How these two... Come on, there's got to be something we can do to show the detective. Time to keep investigating. Now look at the side of the Chief Gant's desk. Speaking of that, when we were in here earlier. Oh, it's you two, Chief Gant. Put that paper he was reading at his desk. I wonder what he was reading. This looks like a list of evidence. A list of evidence? In most cases, a list runs twice as long as this, though. Look at the case name. Huh? SL9 incident. I wonder what he's doing here. Hold on, detective. What did you say? I said, I wonder what... No, about the evidence. Normally that's twice as long. That's right. I guess there wasn't a lot of evidence. Huh? Size list of evidence. What would be the other half of the list doing here? You know, the chief must be hiding something about that case. It would appear so. No clues here. Oh. Look, we better look more into this. Let's look outside. You can see pretty far from 15 stories up. He would have dropped. At first, the chief wanted to use stained glass windows. Really? Why didn't he? Say he changed his mind because he wouldn't be able to see the view. Ah, stained glass or not, it's a huge window. Organ! Occasionally we hear him playing it from the criminal affair department. That's on the 2nd floor, and this is on the 15th floor of an entirely different building. When a detective screws up, the chief calls them to his office. Makes them listen to the organ for hours. What's so bad about that? Music soothes the soul. After that, the detective can't hear anything for days except for the ringing in their ears. So it's an instrument of punishment, literally. But aren't the chief's ears affected? He never listens to anyone anyways! That's beside the point. This was taken only 2 years ago, the day Joe Dark. After receiving his award, Trophy Mr. Marshall went along with the questions, but he never knew he'd be dead just a few hours later. Gee, you think? This was Lana's desk. It sure was tidy. Lana's always been a meticulous cleaner. There's not even any dust on it. It looks like someone is still cleaning it. Does Lana ever come back here? No, Chief Gant must still keep it clean in memory of their partnership. They were the stuff her legends are made of. Does he keep it in memory of her or in memory of the crime? These shelves are mostly empty. Lana must have cleaned them out when she transferred over to the prosecutor's office. The small picture left in the frame and the shelves. Hey, this is when Lana and I went to that theme park. Look at that giant window. Makes you want to crash through it and jump outside. Oh, this is the 15th floor. I know, I was just saying. Saying what? Ever since making Detective, I always dreamed about doing something like that. I just have Detective Gumshoe has a lot of dreams. As long as he doesn't go crashing through that window when he gets fired. Don't say that! Oh, Phoenix. This mark floor looks like some blah blah blah. Word is assigned after the insignia and the prosecutor's badge. Prosecutor's badge? Yeah, like the one hanging from your collar. What? They have badges too? The design is supposed to portray the severity of the punishment system. Now you mention it does look all pointy and kind of painful, but Mr. Edgeworth never wears a badge. That's because he's a sharp dresser. A badge like that wouldn't go too well with his outfit. So sharp dressers don't need to wear badges. Guess everyone just kind of lets it slide. I don't see how that's supposed to signify severe punishment. I have to prove that these two go together. Do I have the other evidence list? Okay, so I need to show Edgeworth the other half of that list. Right, please, I'm the prosecutor. You don't expect me to sit here and discuss this case on you. I'll pass on to you. Just tell me about the case. Mr. Wright, Mr. Edgeworth told you no on every sergeant. Whose side are you on anyways? If I just show him my best evidence, I can get some reaction. Hey, what the fuck is this? I wonder what this is. It looks like someone drew some kind of sketch here. What is it? Did you find something? Can't make it out. I better keep quiet about this now. Huh? Oh, it's nothing. Why are your eyes moving about like that, Mr. I better not forget about this picture. Wait, so do I not show Edgeworth? You can see my back. I'm gonna fix this green screen a bit. That's like time to link that vase and handprint thingy to Gumshoe. But the handprint isn't in my evidence locker. My evidence locker, you know what I mean. Hey look, there's hard to make out some dark red stains here. Looks like blood. Not likely, this blood looks like it's been here for months. Maybe this child's evidence in SL9 that might be blood got on it. Time to link that vase and handprint to get Gumshoe. But I... Just gonna present this and see what happens. Jacob Gumshoe, can you have a look at this jar? I remember when the three of us put that back together. Ah, those were there. It's kind of early to be nostalgic. Wasn't this jar a piece of evidence from that case? That's right. One of the shards had an SL9 incident sticker on it. Doesn't this ring any bells? You know the fragment we just found? You mean this one? That was in the safe? Yeah, that one. That was in the safe. Now that you mention it, it's ringing a lot of bells. Let's see if it fits. Here, let me see that shard. I'll take a crack at this. Go ahead, pal. Show us what a rookie can do. Mr. Wright, here's some glue. If I can piece this together again, I'll prove Chief Gant was knowingly hiding evidence. There, it fits like a charm. That of course means Chief Gant was willingly and knowingly hid a piece of evidence in his safe. In other words, he concealed a piece of evidence from the SL9 incident. Hey guys, get a load of this. What is it? This piece you just attached. It's different from the others. There's a reddish line on it. A reddish line. That's blood. I don't get it. Why would Chief Gant hide this in a safe? Can I... There is probably nothing of interest here. Huh. This area must have been covered in blood. Is this from that incident? It must be, when Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered. 2 years have passed, so I reckon it's kind of dull, so a murder really did take place here. Oh, clicked off the game. Alright, I've got nothing. One thing I wish I could do is check this with this. You know, I should have spoken to him. That desk on the other side of the room. Was that your sister's? Yeah, that's where I was waiting for Lana. On that day 2 years ago. Is anyone using it now? No sir, this is entirely Chief Gant's office now. He practices a strict policy of preserving the crime scene. It's a strange reason to leave it there. He leaves it as a warning to everyone else. He wants us to always be alert. Told us so himself at the New Year's party. Of course he was pretty intoxicated at the time. I see. So ever since Lana left, no one has ever touched that desk. No one except Chief Gant and the cleaning lady who's in here each morning. Still 2 years have passed since the incident. Can I ask you something? Sure. You only came here to look around, right? Because it's one of SL9's crime scenes. I mean, that's your only reason for coming here, isn't it? Why do you ask? You don't think... Nah, you wouldn't... Don't worry. Okay, now then, let's look around a bit more. Hey, hold on. What's a What? What is it? When someone tells you don't worry about it, it's supposed to start bothering you, pal. You just don't let it go like that. Sorry, this guy's getting on my nerves. So what's bothering you? You two don't think Chief Gant might be a suspect, do you? What? He's right, Mr. Wright. What do we think of him? Chief Gant, so it's finally come to this. Swimming man himself. What do I think of him? Perhaps it's best I don't divulge feelings yet. There you go, ignoring me again. That's what the chief was reading before, wasn't it? You know, when we first came in here. Yeah, it looks like the right side of the form's been torn. Mr. Edgeworth's list really was the only half of the whole thing. Something else is bugging me more than that. Take a look at the back of the form, pal. The back? Yeah, I've checked that. I'll present this to you again. To see if, now that I've spoken to him, it procs any voice lines. It does not. Can I now speak to Edgeworth? Alright, please, blah 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 blah. Cannot talk to Edgeworth yet. Can I talk to Lana yet? Paying prosecutors, blah 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 blah. Paying prosecutors. Paying prosecutors. Spoken to you about everything. I assume I'm supposed to stay in the chief's office, but what am I going to do here? If I'm fired, I won't be able to give you much information, so that's why I have to get it out of my system now. You understand, don't you? Don't be so negative. We want you to share your information, though. Who am I fooling? I never had anything useful to share to begin with. Ah, gotta stay positive. If I'm fired. Studying up on those files, there's nothing wrong with Mr. Edgeworth. Presentation to think people are accusing him of injustice. I, for one, ain't buying it, pal. You're looking into the case for Edgeworth. Yeah, it was a pretty big deal what was going on, you know. After all, a serial killer was on the loose. Lana was pretty clear in her confession. She forged evidence in order to prove Joe Dark guilty. Where do I go from here? Gumshoe, I'm a lawyer. Shows me every time we meet, pal. Real men show their police badge. Enough said. I wish I had a badge. I wish I had a badge. Even an ID card would be nice. What do I do here? I don't know. Yes, 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 yes. Everything has been investigated. Window's been investigated. That's been investigated. Yeah, I can see why this case takes quite a long time. Hey, that's it! What? We got the award ceremony at Gumshoe. Of course, pal. I got an award for diligence myself. Ah, congratulations. This is based on an old Chinese story, right? Yeah, everyone knows that. There was this dragon. Yeah, that's it. A dragon. He had a thing for shields, see? That's not exactly the version we heard. No, but this one sounds more exciting. Anyways, it gets kind of gory after that. I'll spare you the details. Fuck it, you built it. I'm going to ask you about it. This guy almost made us lose the case. What are you talking about? He was guarding the bloodstain on the evidence lock with his life. More than you can say about most officers nowadays. Would have saved us a lot of trouble if he wasn't guarded so well. I have to admit he's right though. Thanks to the Blue Badge, we'll be able to prove another possibility today. The possibility that another murder took place prior to 5:15. Where do we go from here? Don't have anything else to tell you. Just, don't have anything else to tell you. Maybe we should react to this? Don't have anything else to tell you. Where do we go from here? I genuinely don't know. I seriously don't know. So I will look at a guide for 1 second because I am seriously stumped. It's also very hot in my room. I have to present the fingerprint set to Gumshoe. Detective Gumshoe, I'd like you to have a look at this. Hey, I know what that is. So you want to take some fingerprints? That's a great idea, detective. Alright, go to town. Sheesh. he's doing? Why are you seeking it? Go ahead, take my fingerprints. It's not your fingerprints we want to take. Huh? Come on, this isn't time for jokes. We're talking about the cloth found in the safe. Ah! I knew that. The one with the handprint on it, right? Did not mean to open that. Sheesh, where's your sense of humour? So let's check the prints. Sprinkle the powder on the cloth. And once they've been absorbed into the prints, blow the rest away. What are you, my mom? Don't have to be told a million times. Alright, let's get this over with. Get my best shot. The kind of result we'll be looking for matte good prints. Let's try a different finger then. Oh, they want clear. Alright, this is gonna be the right print. Alright, who is this? It's not Gant. It's not Meekins. It's not Marshall. It's not Goodman. It's not Gumshoe. It's like Lana's but flipped, but... That's real interesting. Hey, you found a match? Whose fingerprints were they? It seems the prints are too old. They aren't clear enough to get a match. Oh, that's too bad. I thought it'd be Dark's prints. Hey, you over here. What's going on here? What are the kids' prints doing inside the chief's safe? Don't ask me. Let's just keep this information from Emma now, okay? Here, maybe you should hold on to this. Well, was I any help? Of course. Thanks to your ID card, we were able to get some hard evidence. Now, that's not very kind, is it? In other words, if it wasn't for his ID card, he would have been useless. Shit. We didn't think you'd be back so soon. Fortunately, I'm a man who believes in signs. As I was walking to my meeting, I happened to look out a window and saw a stray dog run right into a pole. Then I thought of a certain detective. Do you mean me, sir? Now then. I'm afraid I'm gonna have to ask you all to leave. Yes, sorry. Are you in the coat, me, sir? Drop off your ID card on the way out. You won't be needing it anymore. But, sir! Now get out. Yes, sir. We'll be on our way too then. Wait, you, the one without the spiky hair. Don't go yet. Me, sir? I'd like a word with you. So I'm not licensed. You with the spiky hair, you're free to go. Mr. Wright! Look, pal, if I've told you once, I've told you 1,000 times. The chief's office is off limit. But no, you just had to go sneaking in there like that, didn't you? Thought you said you didn't care anymore if you were a detective. Yeah, if I knew it'd be like this, I never would have said it. Now that I've seen the evidence Chief Gant was hiding in his office, I think I'm finally starting to get the picture. Why has she kept eerily silent about this all the time? Anyway, you listen to me? I'm gonna try to smooth things over with the Chief again. Later, pal. After that, I heard from Emma. She said the police wanted to ask her some questions, so she'll be busy for the rest of the day. I see, so the chief asked Emma to come in for questioning. It's no use thinking about it. Tomorrow's the final day in court. Committed to doing everything I can do to defend you, which is why I'm here. I've already told you all I can. What you've told me over these past couple of days is absolutely nothing. Not a single useful thing. Now, I believe I did mention something quite important. Something I told you right at the beginning. I said that I was the one who stabbed Goodman. You know, I think I finally figured it out. I know it is that's lurking behind your words. Mia did a good job mentoring you. I'm rather jealous. Seems Edgeworth was right. Edgeworth? Once you're convinced you know something, no one can persuade you otherwise. Thick-headed is the term you used, I believe. It's my chance to get her to tell me the rest of the story. I need to hear what Lana has to say. Then I can finish up the investigation. Oh. Yeah, I meant to hit talk game. I have to admit, I was more than a little perplexed at first. You insisted you did it, yet there was no incriminating evidence. That's when it hit me. It's not that you're unwilling to tell the truth, it's that you're incapable of doing so because of a certain individual. What an intriguing notion. A certain individual, you say? So you think I'm protecting this person? Protecting? No, I think more afraid of is like it. If I'm not mistaken, the person in question may have persuaded you into silence. For argument's sake, Mr. Wright, whom, may I ask, is this person you are speaking of? The one I'm supposedly frightened of. It's Gant. Oh, Miss Skye. Mr. Wright, you are addressing the Chief Prosecutor. Do not forget your place. I take it she's still not ready to spill the beans. My apologies. Could you please tell me a bit more about what you think you know? We were partners until 2 years ago. I respect him as a detective. Assuming he's respectable, then tell me something. Why would he try to hide his crimes? His crimes? Both you and Edgeworth will be brought before a board of inquiry before you did. Specifically, hiding and forging evidence. Of course, these are serious offences. Why is it, though, that Chief Gant's name was never mentioned? Chief Gant? Edgeworth didn't know the truth behind the forgery. The only party who could have possibly tampered with the evidence was... me. I had access because I was second in command of that investigation. Yes, you, but also one other person. Gant. If you intend to accuse Chief Gant, you'll need more than just words. Show me proof that Chief Gant falsified evidence in that case. I just found this in a safe in the Chief's office. This jar piece and this piece of cloth. Do you know what these are? The pieces of evidence from the SL9 incident. That the person concealing evidence was none other than the Chief Gant himself. Now tell me, why are you taking all the blame for him? Touché, Mr. Wright. Says you surmised I cannot disobey the Chief's orders, even if it means being found guilty of murder. Yeah, she looks depressed and I feel really bad. Why not? Come now, Mr. Wright. You can't possibly expect me to be able to tell you that. 3 days ago, I had no choice but to cooperate. In the murder of Goodman? Or perhaps I should say, follow orders. Yeah, that's more accurate than cooperate. Orders. Although I can't tell you the details, I can say that I was given an order that day. I need you to dispose of Bruce Goodman's body. You'll find it inside the trunk of Miles Edgeworth's car. Just as I suspected, despite what everyone believes, you are not the one who murdered Goodman. Correct. I was trying to take the body out of Edgeworth's car. The trunk's lock was broken, and I discovered that murder weapon while inspecting the body. The murder weapon? You mean Edgeworth's knife? No. When I found the body, this was the knife that was stuck in it. The SL9 incident knife! Couldn't just leave that knife in him. So I took it out and stabbed him with another knife. It would be Edgeworth's knife. That's right. Even though he was already dead, my hands were shaking at the thought of stabbing him. That's why I ended up cutting my hand. That's the reason for the bandage on your right hand. Yes, it seems like I got blood on the victim's shoe as well. And then she saw me just as I plunged the knife in. Star, huh? Why did you need to hide Dark's knife so badly? It took a lot of work to finally close the Dark case 2 years ago. It was over with. I didn't ever want it to be opened again. My intent was to prevent that, by whatever means possible. So you hid Dark's knife. The weapon used to stab the detective was evidence in the Joe Dark case. If word got out, which it would, the reporters would have had a field day with that. So you wrapped the knife in your scarf and hid it in Edgeworth's exhaust pipe. Right, then I called my sister to tell her what happened and to ask her to hide the knife that was inside my muffler. You asked Emma to do it. Didn't want anyone on the force to know about this. That would explain why Emma is so confident about Lana's innocence. Speaking of phone calls, I had a bad feeling about one of them that day. Bad feeling. The truth is, after I received those orders from Gant, the first thing I did was make a phone call. A phone call to Jake Marshall. Why on earth would you call him? Lead investigator for the SL9 incident had been murdered. I wanted that fact to be kept hidden, and I needed help. He was the only other person I could trust. Or at least I thought I could trust him at the time. However, it seems that after I spoke to him, he went off on an escapade of his own. Oh, you mean not wanting the case to die, he decided to take things into his own hands. He disguised himself as Goodman and tried to steal the evidence. He'd already stolen the ID card, but it seems he still hadn't made up his mind to break into the evidence room. After my phone call, any remaining doubts he had must have disappeared. So your phone call caused the incident in the evidence room? I'm afraid that's all I can tell you. But Lana, you've earned my respect, Mr. Wright, both as a defense attorney and an investigator. Now please, don't pursue this any further in court tomorrow. Honest trial's only one way to drive off Lana's demons. I've got to get to the bottom of everything. Detective Goodman's real murderer. And what went down in the chief's office 2 years ago? Alright, we will continue this case after a short break that I'm going to take because I need to fill up water bottle and do other stuff. So, back in like 2 or so minutes after this gets saved. Alright, I'm back. I already saved this, doesn't matter. I'll save it again. This is the defendant lobby, alright? There's no defendant. I've been trying to reach Lana all morning. Where could she be? And where's Emma for that matter? It almost seems as if something's been happening behind the scenes. Edgeworth! Knowing you, you've already figured it out. Who the owner of the 77 ID card number is? Well, I have a pretty long hunch. Pretty big hunch. Looks like I'm not the only one who figures it out. You know, the only reason this trial didn't reach a verdict yesterday, because there was still room for doubt regarding his ID record. If that number does belong to whom you suspect, then no doubt will remain. After all, he hasn't been officially charged with anything. True, not yet. In any event, once all doubt has been removed from that ruling. From that list, I can call for a ruling. 5 minutes to write, and Chief Prosecutor Skye will be found guilty. But she didn't do it. I figured you'd say as much. That's why I came here to hear what you have to say. It's the first time he's ever done something like this. Lana's hiding something, and the only one who will ever know the truth is to draw it out of her. The truth, everything goes back to the SL9 incident. Don't be stupid, today's the last day of the trial, we don't have time to reminisce about the past. That depends on you. If she's found guilty, you'll lose your only chance to find out what really happened. I'll think about it. See you in court, right? This is it. If I'm ever going to find out what Chief Gant has on her, it's now. Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Prosecution is ready, Your Honor. Normally this is when the prosecution puts forth its opening statement. Before that, like, the police chief has a proposal to make. Gant. If you don't mind me asking, Chief, exactly what is this proposal of yours? Lana, that is to say, the defendant, has asked me if she could speak directly to the court. She wants to do what? Having heard what she intends to say, I feel she should be granted her request. In the end, it should save everyone a lot of time and a lot of trouble. What's all this about? I'd just like to make one simple request, and I'll be finished. Well then, what's your request? Your Honor, I'd like you to put an immediate end to this trial. Excuse me? Huh? I confess to all charges against me. On February 21st this year, I murdered Detective Bruce Goodman in the underground parking lot in the prosecutor's office. Now, Lana! You can't, Your Honor. The defendant's claim does not change the defense's plea. In that case, Mr. Wright, I no longer require your services. But Lana, Your Honor, I hereby forfeit my right to an attorney. The prosecution may lack direct evidence against me, but it has sufficiently proven its case through testimony and circumstantial evidence. I would like you to render your verdict now, if you please. Huh. Well, the defendant certainly has the right to self-representation. Her request is legally valid, although this is an unprecedented situation. Indeed, it appears there's no need to further continue this trial, even if Mr. Wright may feel otherwise. This can't be happening. It appears the time for this verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant... One moment, Your Honor. Mr. Edgeworth, prosecution has not yet proven the defendant guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Any ruling at this stage would certainly be premature. Come now, Worthy. I understand this is a difficult time for you. But why don't you just be a good little boy and keep your mouth shut, I don't think I care for your tone, Gant. What? Creating another fabrication to cover up your past mistakes. Sorry, but I'm no longer the naive little boy you would have me be. With this sudden confession from the defendant, it's obvious to me some kind of deal was struck behind the scenes. Some kind of deal, Not everyone operates as you do, Worthy. Huh, I thought so. Your Honor, the prosecution would like to change its first witness. Ah, to whom? As its first witness, it would like to call Emma Skye. I request the court hears her testimony. Edgeworth, I'm exercising my right to self-representation. I don't think we need to contend. I don't care what you think, Miss Skye. The exposure of truth sometimes results in tragedy. However, no matter how tragic the truth may be, it Yet an even greater tragedy to avert one's eyes from it. Very well, the court shall grant the prosecution's request. That's okay with you, right, Chief Grant? Worthy. You'll live to regret this. Mark my words. Miss Emma Skye, please take to the stand. Looks like Edgeworth has decided to take the horse by the reins. Now then, witness. Please state your name and your occupation. My name's Emma Skye. My occupation? I'm Lana's little sister. I want to be a scientific investigator. 2 years ago, you encountered the serial killer of Joe Dark of the Joe Dark killings. Is this correct? Yes, I'm trying my hardest to forget about it though. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to recall those events one more time. Mr. Edgeworth, please remember this trial concerns the murder of Detective Goodman. Is an incident that was resolved 2 years ago really relevant? Yes, it most certainly is, Your Honor. Well, okay then. You sure gave in fast. Now, please testify about what happened to you two 2 years ago. The trip to yesteryear has finally begun. It's bound to lead to the truth behind this trial. 2 years ago, I was waiting in my sister's office that day. A man came running in and took me hostage. Neil Marshall rescued me, but I'll never forget what I saw in that instant. The man raised up his knife and stabbed Mr. Marshall in the chest. I passed out. I don't remember much. I don't know, however, please tell me, Mr. Edgeworth, what does this testimony have to do with Goodman's murder? That will soon become apparent, Your Honor. You've got to admire him for his courage, considering he has no evidence. Very well, the defense may begin its cross-examination. Two years ago, the defendant was a detective at the police department, correct? Yes, she was second in command under then Deputy Chief of Police Gant. Yes, I remember. Deputy Chief Gant and Miss Skye used to be quite the pair. I believe they shared the same office. That's right. I'd always sit at my sister's desk and dream about playing that organ. I wanted to play it that day too. The police department and the prosecutor's office held a ceremony that day. Lana promised to take me to dinner after she finished her work. A man. Yes, Joe Dark. He was a serial killer. Joe Dark was brought in for questioning on the day of that ceremony. We were desperate to get anything on him that would lead to an arrest. When he saw his chance, he fled the room, right? Upon fleeing the room, Dark proceeded to take the elevator. Must have been in a panic because the elevator was going up. Then he ran into Skye and Gant's office. There was a lot of noise coming from outside, so I opened up the door to have a look. That's when I saw him. What was the prosecutor doing there? That day, there were two people present during Dark's questioning. Chief Damon Gant and Prosecutor Neil Marshall. I almost forgot about Gant. Marshall had just received the King of Prosecutors Award. Young and dedicated, he went straight to the questioning after the room ceremony. I assume that it would also be why I was the first to run after Dark. When Dark grabbed me, I thought I was as good as dead. And that's when Prosecutor Marshall came running in. I don't remember clearly, but I'll never forget what I saw in that instant. Can you tell us about that? Mr. Marshall jumped on Dark. Just then the lights went out. The lights? It was about this time of year. There was a terrible storm going on. The lightning struck. The electricity went out. Wait a minute. If it was pitch dark in that room, you shouldn't have been able to see anything, right? But just then the lightning flashed again outside. That sudden flash left an unforgettable image in the scene of my mind. I see. I told the detective about what I saw. Then, the detective... Yeah, Goodman. Bruce Goodman, the victim. So you spoke with Goodman about this 2 years ago? Yes, that's what's so scary about this trial. And you told Detective Goodman about what you saw. Yes, but at the time the words just wouldn't come out. That's why I drew a picture. Yeah, I think you mentioned... Oh, Miss Ray, have you heard enough? This picture the witness drew, I believe it has a very important meaning. The list of evidence I was given 2 years ago didn't contain a picture. Witness, would you please mind adding this? Yes, Your Honor. Present list of evidence. This much I know. Edgeworth. This little girl put all her heart into drawing that picture. And yet you would insist on denying its existence, huh? Hey, I'm not the bad guy. All I'm saying is that as the prosecutor for the case, I wasn't handed such a picture. That may well be. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist. This is the evidence for the SL9 incident. Please turn it over, Your Honor. Turn it over to... Ah, what is this? Yes, what is that? Hey, that's it. That's the picture I drew. Indeed. Two men appear to be wrestling here. What's the meaning of this? What are you doing with that list? Me? Only the prosecutor in charge should have access to that list. These lists, they're different. It appears, Mr. Edgeworth, that the evidence list you were handed 2 years ago is incomplete. These two lists fit together to form one. You can see the marks here where they were torn apart from each other. So you see, Mr. Edgeworth, it's quite obvious what happened now. 2 years ago, only half of the evidence in that case ever reached you. What? Order! Order! Miss Skye, why did you draw your picture on the back of such an important list? Because that's what Detective Goodman handed me in the questioning room, Your Honor. Wait a minute. The list was torn in half, and that means... Your Honor! Are you alright, Mr. Wright? Your eyes are bulging from your head. If the evidence list was torn in half, then there might be more of the drawing on the back of Mr. Edgeworth's list. Yes, that's quite conceivable, Mr. Edgeworth. It's possible... Ah! Is something wrong? Do you even have to ask? Dude is seething. Sorry, Your Honor. There is indeed something drawn on the back of my list. It's that thing. That's that thing. That thing that was dancing in the evidence room. Clearly, this act of vandalism is the work of a certain chief of detectives. Guess he was out of scrap paper. Very well, witness. Will you please testify that this picture you drew 2 years ago? Yes, Your Honor. What's wrong with Emma? She seemed to be thinking about something when she was looking at the picture. This picture I drew 2 years ago. The flash of lightning was so bright all I could see was shadows. I thought I must have fainted. This picture shows exactly what I saw in the instant. Thanks to that, though, she was able to... Right, this clearly shows very dark about the matter. Examination. Did you draw the picture right after the incident? I think I drew it 2 or 3 days later. At first I was in such a state of shock that I couldn't do anything. During that time, the investigation team was reorganized. Detective Goodman was placed in charge under the direction of Damon Gant and Lana Skye. 2 or 3 days later. The memory should have still been fresh in my mind. Excuse me, witness. Can you please tell me why this picture is painted in all black? The flash of lightning was so bright all I could see was shadows. So at the time you didn't even know it was Mr. Marshall had come to your rescue. No, I couldn't see him clearly. The lightning was so bright and it knocked me to the floor. We were knocked to the floor. Dark had a tight grip on me when Mr. Marshall jumped on him. I was knocked away. I turned around. That's when I saw the lightning flash. Poor Emma, I'm just glad she wasn't hurt. What happened after the lightning flashed? I must have fainted. You mean you didn't see the actual murder take place? No, I'm sorry. The flash of lightning only drove off the darkness for a split second, not that it would have mattered, but the trauma of the situation understandably caused the witness to faint. Do you really need to torture this girl any further? Yes, Edgeworth. Hey, I'm not the bad guy here. Anyway, this picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant. Stabbed in the back. Looks like he's being stabbed in the head. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but the picture the witness drew contains a blatant contradiction. Oh, but I remember it like it was yesterday. Right. Perhaps it would be faster if you simply pointed out the contradiction to us. What part of this picture contradicts the autopsy report? Obviously, like, being stabbed, right? He's not being stabbed in the right place. Contradiction, of course, lies here. Take a look at the man holding the knife. You see it closely, you can see the tip is broken. It wasn't what I was referring to, even I don't have to look that closely, Mr. Wright. Mr. Wright, look at the evidence. You see the murder weapon and his tip is broken too. If I recall, the tip of the knife was found broken off in the victim's body. It was conclusive evidence. It was the complete. I'm afraid it's not so simple, Emma. Fuck. And where, pray tell, could you possibly see a problem? It's obvious, really. The victim suffered a single stab wound to the back. The victim was only stabbed once, and the murder weapon should not yet be broken. Ah, what's the meaning of this? Perhaps the knife was broken beforehand. Sorry, but I'm afraid that's not possible. The tip of the knife is found inside the victim's body. It was broken beforehand. It couldn't possibly wind up there. That's right. What does this mean? The tip of the knife was undeniably discovered within the victim's body. The only possible explanation is the wind. That's why I asked her so many times. She was sure she remembered it correctly. I believe you were annoyed at the time, but she was sure she remembered correctly. But there's no other way to explain this inconsistency. Not so fast, Edgeworth. There is another explanation. Have you forgotten already? About something called falsified evidence. You're treading on thin ice here, right? All I'm saying is that this broken knife tip might be the piece of evidence that was forged. You can't deny that possibility. Ah! Order! Are you saying the investigation really was corrupted? Your Honor, please allow me to once again go over the events that took place the day of this murder. The police department and the prosecutor's office were holding a ceremony on that day. After receiving the King of Prosecutors award at the ceremony, Neil Marshall questioned Joe Dark along with Damon Gann. During his investigation, Joe Dark ran away. Prosecutor Marshall chased after him and was killed by Dark. It's my belief that somewhere in this story there is a lie. I'm not lying. The man really was holding up a broken knife. If that's true, then there's no other way around it. This could not have been the actual murder weapon. It must have been another broken knife. What are the chances of there being two broken knives? Another broken knife besides Joe Dark's? There have been one. There is another one. If the witness is adamant about the accuracy of what she saw, it can't just be explained away by a simple observational error. Mr. Wright. In that instant, Emma, really, did you see a broken knife? I assume then that you have some other information about this broken knife. If so, please feel free to enlighten us. It's the fucking prosecutor trophy. That's why it's broken off. The answer lies in the past. 2 years in the past. Right here inside this picture. This is the picture of the award ceremony. What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? It's the broken murder weapon. Notice the award the prosecutor marshal is holding. That's a broken knife. As we earlier concluded, the knife in the drawing was not Joe Dark's knife. That being the case, the knife the witness saw was all likelihood from this award. Order! Order! Neil Marshall was awarded King of Prosecutors that day. As an award, he was given this broken shield and a knife. When he chased after Joe Dark, he pulled out this knife. Being a prosecutor, he did not carry a pistol. His broken knife was the only weapon he had in this dangerous situation. But that can't be. Ah, and why not, Edgeworth? Because the King of Prosecutors award was the murder weapon, and the murder weapon and victim would be reversed. What do you mean? I mean, this man raising the knife would have had to have been Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Ah, oh my god! The prosecutor was the one who actually died. That's true. What's going on here? Seems Mr. Wright is too eager to jump to conclusions. Wait, I remember now. I remember everything. Witness? Mr. Edgeworth. What is it? Could you show me your evidence list again, please? His list? The one with the picture scribbled on the back? I knew it. This picture, I'm the one who drew it. What? You drew that? That's right. The list wasn't torn in half at the time I drew this picture. All this time I've been trying so hard to forget. I must have locked this part away deep inside. Perhaps it would be best if we added this to the testimony. Yes, Your Honor. First the knife mix-up and now the blue badger. This should be interesting. Don't tell me it's the fucking pot! Because the pot's in a certain... It's the pot, isn't it? When I saw that man raise his knife, I panicked and rushed toward both of them. I think I knocked the man away, the man with the knife. Just then there was another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw the blue badger. He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow. This is certainly most unusual. Try impossible. The chief of detectives hadn't even designed him this until this year. That would mean he didn't exist 2 years ago. Yes, well, the defense may now begin its cross-examination. Stop, please! Don't pursue this any further. Holy shit. Okay, Lana. Lana, what's the meaning of this? Please remain seated in the defendant's chair. But you can't do this. I've already confessed to the crime. Why can't you just leave it at that? Chief Skye. We've already come this far. It's too late now to turn back. Silence. The defense will now begin cross-examination. Bailiff, please detain the defendant. Seems we're finally getting to the core of this matter. It's not the blue badger. Are you sure about this? Of course, but it was the chief detective. Didn't exist 2 years ago. I know, it sounds strange when I saw it. I had this nagging feeling I've seen him somewhere before. Now I finally remember. Oh, brother, just when you thought you'd caused anything. Tell us, where in the room did you see him? Wait. 1. It's the jar. Mysterious blue badger was in fact this. But that's... what exactly is that? I believe it's some sort of jar. But Mr. Wright, that doesn't look anything like the blue badger. Indeed it doesn't. As it stands just now, it's just a plain old jar. However, what if we were to change our viewpoint? Our viewpoint. I've got to show them the correct angle to look at this from. Wrong side. Oh, really? This is so fucking finicky. Oh my god. That's it, right? This is... my god! That was it. It's the Blue Badger. Fuck it, I just want to get to the end of this case. This is getting infuriating. Oh, we all enjoy Mr. Wright's. What's your point? What do you mean? So the Badger was actually a jar. It doesn't change anything. I'm afraid that's where you're wrong, Edgeworth. You see, this changes everything. Indeed? Very well then. Please us. What's the difference? Only take these. Knowing the murder, the witness saw this jar. Very specific angle, I might add, Mr. Wright. Yes, well, knowing this, where could she have seen this jar? Location of the jar is shown in the picture taken here. It's on a shelf in the office of Damon Gant. But the witness testified to herself. Yes, and it's these two facts that reveal what actually transpired. You see, the struggle between Dark and Marshall did not take place in Lana Sky's office. It happened in the other side of the room in Chief Gant's office. Are you implying the murderer moved the body? Yes, Edgeworth. From Damon Gant's office to Lana Sky's office? Yes, why would he do that? There's no reason. Exactly. There was no reason. Logic reason that it was a reason. You know what the reason was, Mr. Wright? No, sir. I finally figured it out, so this is why Lana tried to stop the trial. It's too late to quit now, though. Please recall the witness testimony. She said she was knocked away. The man who was holding up the knife. In the next instant, the jar was hit and flew through the air. Now tell me, what could have sent the jar flying? That'd have to have been the impact on the man made when he was knocked into the wall. Ladies and gentlemen, I may draw your attention to this picture once more. If the man was knocked in the direction of the shelf the jar was sitting on, what would he have hit? Ah! The suit of armor! Holding a very sharp and dangerous looking sword. Correct. And since the man who was knocked into the armor was carrying a broken knife, he would have had to have been Neil Marshall wielding the King of Prosecutors trophy. Now, Mr. Wright, you can't be thinking. Yes, there is another possibility of what actually transpired in that room. Another possibility. Of course, the perpetrator would have had no idea, but nevertheless, I don't know if I can go through to this. Mr. Wright, what's the matter? If the events took place as the defense theorizes, the outcome is obvious. In that moment, assuming the man Emma Sky knocked away was actually Prosecutor Marshall. You mean Mr. Marshall died because of me? No! I can't yell. No, too much. Too loud. I never imagined her testimony would lead to this. So it was the witness who took the victim's life. And then proved so with her own testimony. This is unprecedented. What? What are you saying? I'm sorry, Miss Skye, but given the circumstances, Joe Dark murdered Prosecutor Marshall. How can you think it was Emma? How dare you try to pin the crime on her? Imagine that coming from you. If you recall, it was you who admitted to forging evidence 2 years ago. The reason you proved Prosecutor moved Marshall's body was to keep anyone else from finding out about what Emma did, wasn't it? I assure you, Mr. Edgeworth, I have no idea what you're talking about. If you hope to have anyone believe your insane allegations, I'm afraid you're going to have proof. Tell me, you have any conclusive proof that proves that my sister killed Neil Marshall? Evidence, I'm willing to bet you don't. Yes, it certainly would be difficult to prove this with evidence. If we don't have evidence, we'll have to rely on testimony. Afraid that won't work in this case. Both parties involved in the incident are dead. Certainly can't get dead people to testify. This has all been a wild goose chase from the beginning. Touche, Miss Skye. Of course, that only leaves us with one possibility. You mean there's still another possibility? What do you mean, Edgeworth? I mean the possibility that the victim has left us a message. For better or for worse, Mr. Marshall did not die instantly. He may have left behind the name of the person who took his life, in one manner or another. That's impossible. Well, Mr. Wright, this is the only possibility left to you. A message from the deceased. Does such a message exist? The real murderer is... This message is already in position. Will you stop nothing to prove my sister is a murderer? Do not be mistaken, Miss Skye. Our purpose is not to accuse Emma of any crime. There is only one thing we seek. The truth. No matter how painful it may be. Hi, Mr. Wright. Please just... It's the jar! This is the message left by the deceased. This is that blue badger. Oh, is he just going to speak the killer's name? If that thing could, I'm sure it would. Everyone's just forgotten that this is a jar. A message was left here on the surface of the jar. What do you mean? If you look closely, you can see a faint trail of blood on the jar. It's like someone wiped away the blood. Yeah, but notice, for some reason, some of the blood fragments are not wiped away. Yeah, there's a line here drawn in blood. So what you're saying is, these dots were once lines. Prosecutor Marshall did not die instantly. He used the few precious moments left to him to leave behind a message. One that someone apparently wiped away, but blood must have seeped into the jar when the lines changed directions. Precisely so. All we need to do is connect these points. And the victim's message will become apparent. No! It's alright, what kind of message is the victim... Your Honor, I believe these bloodstains will reveal us the answer. I've got to connect these dots. Oh no. It's a defense's attorney's duty to prove their client's innocent. That's why I've been thinking about saving Alana. After all my efforts, I never thought it would turn out like this. Emma, so this is the final message that Marshall left behind. Of all people, she may not have meant it, but in the end, the one who took the victim's life was Emma Skye. Seaworthy? Can't say I told you. Gant, you understand the implications of what you've done. What are you talking about? 2 years ago, Joe Dark was sentenced to death. He was convicted because of his final murder. I believe you were the prosecutor in that case, were you not? Yes, Worthy. Because of you, an innocent man was sentenced to death. Not only that, but you used forged evidence to ensure his conviction. But Joe Dark really was a serial murderer. That is undeniable. I'm afraid that's not important. Didn't you know? We aren't defenders of justice. We're merely keepers of the law. Sentencing a man to death is no light matter, even if there wasn't any cover-up or evidence forgery. Ultimately, the responsibility falls on the prosecutor in charge. Despite what anyone may say, this fact cannot be denied. What's going on there? Why have sent an innocent man to his death? The gavel's pounding fell on deaf ears. Unable to settle the crowd, the judge issued a recess. Where this trial's headed, no one knows. Sorry, Edgeworth, I didn't mean to get you in trouble. Don't worry about it. This is my problem, not yours. I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh, I guess I am. I'll come back later. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You've got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run around on duty. On top of it, call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals take up monies, having you on errands again. Let me tell you, this is the last time, pal. Here, she asked me to give you this. This to you if there was a break in today's trial. Evidence law. Rule 1. No evidence, blah blah blah. We've seen all this. The chief, a message. She said, if you're taking a plan, him. I guess I'll need to read it. Huh? Haven't you figured it out? Why am I still sitting in that prosecutor's seat, despite all these allegations being thrown at me? Mr. Edgeworth, the real trial today hasn't begun yet. What's there left to do? Your credibility has all been ruined. So I open my Xbox 360. When Skye found out she's unwittingly caused a man's death, and now you're telling me you want to do more? Gotta be kidding me, pal. Oh yeah. You're missing the point, Detective. Lana didn't murder Goodman. She merely stuck a knife into his dead body! That means the real killer is still out there. And we're going to expose him. Okay. Crime Committee is planning to impose harsh penalties for your actions. Thank you for the news, Your Honor. Yes, well, normally this is where the prosecution calls forth a witness, but, this isn't easy to say. You see, there's going to be some concern that you, Mr. Medgeworth, may have, struck a bargain. You think I may have manipulated the witness? I didn't say that, it's just, everyone's been talking and... Very well, Your Honor, I have a solution. A solution? That being the case, the prosecution will allow the defense to call all further witnesses from here forth. Undeniably, this is an unusual arrangement, but a very effective one. It would prove that I haven't struck any deals with the witnesses. Oh, Mr. Wright, what do you say? Unbelievable. Edgeworth has found a way to continue the trial. Very well, the defense accepts the prosecution's proposal. And it's settled. The defense may now call forth its next witness. Mr. Wright, you do realize this is your last chance. If you call the wrong witness, this trial is as good as over. The defense calls... Gant. Damon Gant. The defense calls Damon Gant to the stand. What does he have to do anything? As a defendant's partner 2 years ago, he's Gant's first time experience in the crime. As luck would have it, he should still be in the courthouse. He would also be the least likely to have been manipulated in any way. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor? True. Alright, bailiff, please escort Mr. Gant to the stand. Witness, please state your name and occupation. What is this, some kind of practical joke? I was just on my way to lunch. Your name and occupation, sir. Worthy, are you sure you want to do this? Your name and your occupation. So, you want to play hardball, eh? Please, Mr. Gant. Fine, my name is Damon Gant. I'm the acting chief of police. Now then, Chief Gant, the court requests to hear your testimony. Alrighto, what's with the grim face? First, let's clear up this SL9 incident. Oh, you mean that time when Lana's sister murdered the prosecutor? Personally, I think it's already been made pretty clear. There are still some things unaccounted for. Ah, like what? Like the role you played in all of this! Son, either you're very brave or very foolish. You are aware, of course, that a police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons? Sure, take my testimony for example. I don't have to give it if I don't want to. What, is that true? I'm afraid so. The chief of police has the right to refuse to testify. Of course, such an action carries with it certain risks. Don't worry, I'm not here to hinder your trial. Just remember, if this turns out to be a big waste of time, don't say I didn't warn you. Very well, the witness name began... As I recall, Neil Marshall questioned him. Make sure long story we slipped up. The power outage didn't help either. When I went to my office, I found Lana there. Apparently she had already arranged the crime scene. As you can see, it had nothing to do with the forgery. When Emma sent Neil flying, it seems Dark bumped his head. See, everything seems pretty clear cut. Oh, I already know what it is. Alright, you claim you had nothing to do with the forgery. But I'm afraid that is a claim you cannot back up. Explain yourself. Several pieces of evidence were found in your office. Take this jar, for example. That's that blue badger you showed us earlier. A piece of this jar was discovered in your safe. Not only that, but the evidence list I presented earlier was actually found inside your desk. It was found where? You see, Chief Gant, these articles of evidence uncovered in your office are both concrete proof that you also played a part in the illegal investigation. Chief Gant, what's the meaning of this? Ha, here's a defense attorney you may even rival Worthy. So you admit to it then, that you were involved in the forgery. Who, me, or do you mean you? Me, what would have anything to do with it? Well, you're the one who snuck into my office when you found this evidence. Prosecutors aren't the only ones capable of forging evidence, you know. Isn't that right, Righto? However, Detective Gumshoe was present during the investigation. Worthy, my boy. Not even detectives are exempt from the law. Rest assured, Dick will receive his due punishment. What? If Detective Gumshoe's salary drops any further, he'll end up paying to work. Yes, well, in light of the detective's presence, please give us your testimony regarding the pieces of evidence in relation to the forgery. My, kids these days no longer know how to put two and two together. Let's see, what was it now? A jar fragment and a list? For all I know, you could have planted them in my office. Anyway, you can't prove when these pieces of evidence were discovered. They were found after Dark was convicted. They're worthless. There's no reason I'd participate in forgery. Rearranging the crime scene wouldn't help me out in any way. It's gonna help you. I know what I'm doing. I know exactly what I'm doing here. There's no reason I participate in forgery. Really, Chief Gant? At the very least, there is one large benefit you reap from all of this. And I wasn't aware of this benefit. That would be, of course, the position you have, the Chief of Police. The resolution of the SR9 incident occurred because of you. That was evolved because of you. That in itself is sufficient motive. Ho ho ho. That's a good one. Huh? You really think I'm that incompetent? What do you mean? Even without the case, I was already in line to become the next chief. The resolution of SL9 merely sped up the inevitable a little. Is this true, Edgeworth? Yeah, he was going to be made chief anyways. Ah! Careful when pointing that finger, you might end up... So that means there's only one possible motivation for you to commit forgery. If you didn't do it for yourself, then you did it for someone else. Edgeworth, you know me better than that. There are only 3 people I would look out for. Me, myself, and I. There, it's out in the open now. Gee, would you mind if I change my testimony a little? By all means, please do. It wouldn't be anyone's accomplice, so there's nothing in there for me. Nothing in it for you? Sorry, but you're the only person I care about is yours truly. That girl, Lana's little sister, was it? If you think I felt sorry for her, you'd better think again. You're right, you don't feel sorry for anyone. Be tough on crime and tough on people. That's how I was raised. You seem to be lax enough on yourself, though. Ho ho. Ho! It's a good one, Worthy. Huh, could there have been something in it for him? Given his selfishness, would he have helped someone out? True, you might not help out anyone for their sake, but it would benefit you. You might decide to assist someone. It's alright, it appears you're positively determined to portray the chief as a nice man who likes to lend people a hand. It's not what I mean. Very well then. Who's this person you believe Chief Gant may have helped? Lana. Chief Prosecutor Skye, the defendant. I believe it's quite obvious in the light of circumstances. Emma Skye fell victim to an unfortunate series of events. Who would want to help her more than her own sister, Lana? And as for Chief Gant, he would also have a reason to help Lana if she asked him to. That reason, of course, is self-profit. Self-profit? What do you mean? After the SM9 incident was resolved, Lana Skye was appointed Chief Prosecutor of the Prosecutor's Office. The person who arranged this job change was you, Gant. But how would he profit from all this? He would be able to use the Chief Prosecutor as his puppet. Essentially, he would have acquired an unchecked authority over all investigations. You mean telling me that, despite the Chief's formidable appearance, he plays with puppets? Oh wait, you must mean puppet. Whatever, Judge. Admit it, Chief. You assisted Lana Skye in forging evidence. Your motives is to appoint her as a Chief Prosecutor so you can control her. Right, my boy, you have quite an imagination. Let me ask you something, though. What? Do you have any proof of this that I controlled Lana? For example, Lana testifying that I've done such a thing? Oh, she's keeping quiet to protect Emma. There's no way she'd testify against Gant. I'm afraid without any proof, this all amounts to nothing. Mere conjecture, unless that is also what happened in the incident. This incident? Which one would that be? Of course I'm talking about this one, Your Honor! Chief Prosecutor has been acting strange throughout the entire trial. Almost as if someone has been controlling her. Worthy, you'd better watch your tongue. I wouldn't want you to get hurt. Just what do you mean? What he means, Your Honor, is that Chief Gant is involved in the murder of Detective Goodman. Not only that, but the Chief is now making Lana take the rap to cover up his involvement. But what? Order! 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 I said order! Mr. Wright, you can't be serious. Huh? This is an affront to the highest ranking officer in our law enforcement. To accuse the Chief of Police of blackmail and murder. That's impossible. Your Honor, I was merely reiterating what Mr. Edgeworth said in easier to understand language. It's too late, Mr. Wright. There's no turning back for us now. It looks like he's the one who's decided to go through with this. Can you prove this, Mr. Wright, that the Chief as a high-ranking officer of the law is involved in this murder? Good question. Regardless of his rank or title, Chief Gant is just a man. The question is he a criminal? I believe the evidence will tell. I see. Alright then. Let's see what Mr. Wright has got. It better be good. It's the ID list, isn't it? Because 77777 is the last guy. This is the ID card list. Yes, the one that shows who entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. There was one ID on the list we couldn't determine the owner of yesterday. Sorry, but there's no way you can prove that's my card number. It's your number. What? How do you know that? Safe in Chief Gant's office requires a code to open. A 7-digit code. 7 digits, you don't mean? I'm afraid so, Your Honor. The code was 7 sevens. The same as the remaining ID card number on that list. Chief Gant, you entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. Order! Order! Chief Gant, what do you have to say? Nothing. The defense's search of my office was in violation of regulations. I will demand Mr. Wright be punished to the maximum extent of the law. Right now, this court demands an explanation from you about the use of this ID card. Chief Gant, so you admit it. You entered the evidence room on the day of the crime. What about it? I'm chief of police, whether it's the evidence room or the bathroom. What's the difference? I can go anywhere I want. Tell me, when you entered the room, were you alone? I always go to the bathroom alone, as I do with the evidence room. Detective Goodman wouldn't have happened to be with you that day, would he? Of course not. Where would he be? I hadn't seen him in days. You hadn't seen him in days, Chief Gant. I'm afraid you've just undone yourself. On that day, you had to have met with Detective Goodman. What do you mean? This trial's purpose is to determine Lionel Sky's guilt. No, it isn't, Your Honor. This trial's purpose is to determine the truth. If Chief Gant met the victim on the day of the crime, then we need to determine one thing. What transpired during that meeting? In that case, Mr. Wright, I'm going to also ask you for evidence. It's a lost item report, isn't it? Detective Goodman lost his ID card on the day of the crime. Or to be more accurate, Jake Marshall stole it. So Detective Goodman filled out a lost item report. He would have had to give that report to the Chief of Police. Yet you're in possession of that report, which means you can't be sure if he filed it. He filed it. How do I know, you ask? Because he needed to enter the evidence room that day. He needed to, yes, to transfer the evidence out. Ah! Detective Goodman took the form to you, Chief Gant. Then, you accompanied the detective to the evidence room. I accompanied him? There's no other way the murderer and Detective Goodman could have entered the room. Hold on, let me just guess what you're going to say next. I, the Chief of Police, murdered poor Goodman. Yes. But wait, the Chief didn't necessarily need to accompany him to the evidence room. He could have just lent him his ID card. Yes. Now that you mention it. Sorry, but that's not possible. According to the record, your card was only used once. You showed us your ID card earlier. If he had really lent it to Detective Goodman, it would have had been found on his body. Chief Gant, you didn't, did you? The murder weapon was most likely a spur of the moment crime. For no one in their right mind choose the police department as a place to commit murder. After the murder, you contacted Lana at the prosecutor's office. Why? To dispose of Detective Goodman's body, of course. You're forgetting, Mr. Wright, that the victim's body was discovered in the prosecutor's office parking lot. How do you manage to move it there? I was at the police department the entire day, you know. And everyone's aware that Lana stayed at the prosecutor's office after the ceremony. Everyone except me, it seems. Still, you're the chief of police. You have an entire police force at your disposal. Now, so you think I just ordered a police officer to do it? Hey you, take this dead body over here to the prosecutor's office. I don't think so. Yeah, you left all the evidence we need to prove how you moved the body to the prosecutor's office, and all this time with us. How could the chief move the body? Mr. Wright, show us this evidence. Chief can't use this. This is how we moved Detective Goodman's body. Parking stub, Miles Edgeworth. You mean the body was found in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car? I think it's obvious what happened. The body was moved by that car. You mean I carried the victim's body? Precisely so. But wait, even you know I didn't plan on returning to my office after the ceremony that finished that day. But you did return. Tell me why. Ah! I was asked to go by Chief Gant, no less. He told me he wanted me to keep it here in the prosecutor's office. In any case, in the day of stabbings, I brought this back here. So you see, what you were really taking to the prosecutor's office wasn't the screwdriver, but the victim's body in your trunk. Detective Goodman's body was carried in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. Yes, unless of course you have another explanation, Chief. Why else would you have asked Mr. Edgeworth to transport evidence from a closed case? There's only one plausible explanation. Transport the body to your accomplice, Miss Lana Skye. What's going on here? Is there no room for rebuttal to the defense is outrageous, blah 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 blah. This was not a photo of the body being stuffed away in the trunk to be taken away, but exactly the opposite. It's a photo of the body being taken from the trunk. Chief Gant, please say something. I believe your time's up. My time's up. Sorry, Ryder, but I'm having lunch with the District Attorney General of this. We have to get going if we're going to make it in time for the early bird special. But this cross-examination isn't finished yet. Remember what I told you earlier, police chief has all kinds of weapons at his disposal. Weapons. I have the right to refuse to testify. I'm invoking that right now. But there's not a right to be casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered. So you're going to just run away after all this? Run away, don't make you laugh worthy. I stabbed old Goodman, that's what you're trying to say, right? If you had any conclusive evidence, you would have presented it by now. Well, I think I had Lana dispose of the body. If so, then show with your proof and get over with. Say it again, Mr. Wright. Damon Gans, the Chief of Police. This court will not tolerate any accusations against him without proof. Your Honor? Any concrete proof? Do you have proof? I don't have proof yet. It's no use showing evidence if I'm not even sure of myself. Your Honor, no, Your Honor. At this present, I have no conclusive evidence. Huh. See, Archie? In that case, this court is forced to penalise you for your allegations against the Chief. What? His tip, never gamble what you can't afford to lose, Righto. It seems that Lady Luck was on my side again today. Okay, Archie, I'll leave the rest to you. I warned you earlier, Mr. Wright. This is an affront to a senior officer in our nation's law enforcement agency. What? Lady Luck. Maybe we should have a word with her. It's Edgeworth. What do you mean? There's one lady who knows the real truth behind this trial. We haven't yet had the honor of hearing her testimony. The lady who knows the witness. In the absence of conclusive evidence, the only other method of proof is testimony. But Chief Gant has invoked his right to refuse to testify. Still someone else one more witness who can answer us the question. I'm right in this very room. Huh. Are you asking me, Your Honor? Have you forgotten? The defense is one calling witnesses today. Mr. Wright, does such a witness exist? Yes, Your Honor. The defense calls forth Lana Skye. The defendant, Miss Lana Skye. She was in the underground parking lot at 5:15 on February 21st. Her task to dispose of the victim's body, in accordance with a certain summons orders. Mr. Edgeworth, prosecution has no objections, Your Honor. Very well. The court will now take its final recess for the day. In 15 minutes, we'll reconvene to hear the defendant's testimony. This court is now. Hold on. Chief Gant, I thought you were going to eat. Listen good, Lana. I don't think you need me to tell you this, but if you accept Mr. Wright's claims, there will be terrible consequences. That's right. Your sister will be found guilty for Neil Marshall's murder. That isn't good. Of course, you'd never support such outrageous claims anyway, right? Just something to think about. Alright then, I've got a lunch date to meet. Okay, if there aren't any further objections, this court is now in recess. Looks like we managed to stay in the game. Yeah, thanks to your help, Edgeworth. That chief, he's something else, eh, pals? Detective Gumshoe. Yeah, I'm not a detective anymore. Oh yeah, sorry about that. Ah, don't worry, I've already decided where to work now. At your office. My office? Sure. I'll take the place of that top-knotted girl you used to work with. Could he mean Maya? Still, looks like we're all out of moves now. Chief Gant's done it again. How is it he always gets the upper hand? It's not fair he has the right to refuse to testify. Settle down, right? Remember what the judge said. But Chief, that's not a right to casually invoked. There are certain risks to be considered. Risks? What do you mean by that? It's simple. If the Chief refuses to testify, the opposite also holds true. And he forfeits his right to say anything too. Hi, Emma! Emma, are you okay? Yeah, when I came to, I was in the medical office. I've been listening to the trial from the gallery. Heard everything's been going on. Emma, I'm sorry for what I said before. No, don't be. It was the truth. You know, it's funny. I almost feel somehow relieved. Relieved? Yeah, I know finally really what happened. I think that all this time, my sister was being blackmailed by that terrible man. She did it all to protect me. Everyone knew her. Said she changed. Perhaps. It was easier that way for her. What do you mean? What do you think I mean? To follow Chief Gant's orders. She must have shut herself up deep inside. To force herself to do anything. Why don't you wait here? No, I'm gonna come with you. Let's go, right. It's time to end this. Now then, will the defendant, Miss Lana Skye, please take to the stand. Miss Lana Skye, you are the Chief Prosecutor. I'm sure you're aware of what is required of me. Mr. Edgeworth, you already know everything. You know all that I've done these past 2 years. Please provide the court with your testimony, Miss Skye, and remember you are under oath. We want to hear the truth. Of course, the truth. Lana, no matter what happens, I'll always be your sister. Now then, your testimony, if you will. First, tell us about your relationship with Chief Gant. Everything hinges on your testimony. The only chance we have to get Gant. I worked alongside Gant for years. There's no truth to this blackmail theory. I fabricated the evidence 2 years ago all by myself. When I found the prosecutor Marshall's body, I rearranged the crime scene. My only motivation was to get Dark convicted. I had nothing to do with Emma. That's a lie. Interesting. I already know what's going on. Yes, there is. You say you did this all by yourself? Yes. Would you mind telling us what you found when you arrived at the crime scene? Seems I was the first person to discover the scene. The broken prosecutor wore the knife was stuck in the victim's back. What? The prosecutor Marshall died from an unfortunate accident. That's the only situation that you dreamed was possible. The reality is, it wasn't my sister who took the prosecutor's life. Fantasize all you want, Mr. Wright, but I'll never change this statement. I mean, Prosecutor Marshall wound up being killed by Dark. Yes. If that's so, then what happened to the other murder weapon? Dark was carrying a switchblade knife. Ah, that was lying on the floor a little distance away. It's probably knocked away in a struggle. That's not how it went down. She's trying to cover up her lies with more lies. All just to protect me. You found the scene like this, what did you do? After all, this is what everything boils down to. Yes. I broke off the tip of Dark's knife, planted it inside the wound, and then moved the body. My only motivation was to get Dark convicted. It had nothing to do with Emma. Planted the tip and then you moved the body? But why? Why would you do that? You of all people should know, Edgeworth. You always had a good head on your shoulders. My head isn't that bad, but I mean... When you showed up on the crime scene, where exactly was the victim's body? That's where you deduced it was by Chief Gant's desk. The body was found by your desk. Why don't you move it there? The reason for that's simple. Let's have the witness explain this in more detail. The reason Miss Guy moved the body. A piece of the jar shattered during the events threatened my plan. The jar. Miss Guy, I understand how you feel. You committed that crime 2 years ago to protect your sister. In the forgery. That's the truth. Honestly, I'm done with this case. I'm going to use a guide. It's too long. One, two, three, four. Hmm. Believable, the boy was impaled on the armor's sword. Actually, I do have proof. I misread this one. Yeah. Oi! There you go. Hi, Gant. I don't have evidence. I do have evidence for that now. It's the cloth. This is an incredible breakdown, by the way. Yo. Sorry to down again. I knew you used to be. The two things I want you to understand. Yes, first, your sister never hurt anyone. Second, Damon Gant betrayed you from the beginning. You seem a scar, you no longer have any reason to keep silent. You're alright, this trial is over, I'll tell her everything. I'll have done these past 2 years, from the time I had Gant. What headstand do you have for a rookie? I see why Mia thought so highly of you. Who knows, you might just make it to the top. Anyway, thanks, alright? Believe me, I know how much of a deal it's been for you. It was nothing. Liar. In this case... all the... Yeah, we got. Finally, it's over. You too, Mr. Edgeworth. Yeah, I did my best too, but I didn't say a single word. I haven't learned so. Yeah. No, Gumshoe, don't. On purpose. Oh my god. I'm gonna fucking cry. Alright. I wish... Alright, that ends the stream. I'll watch the end of these credits so I can save the game and then done.